Okay, hello again, Steven. So we have never done this before. 3 years traveling and we have never encountered this situation. It's only for 3 months or it's only going to be for 6 months. That's what we always tell ourselves, but this time that was not the case, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So we move every few months, and for our housing, we always get an apartment in town. Just this trip last time from New Mexico to Maryland was about 2,000 miles. That commute is not compatible for going and touring the apartment before moving in. So what we essentially have to do is do all of our research online. And so far, honestly, this has worked out pretty well for us. In Minneapolis, it was an older building, and there was always a bottleneck at the elevators, but we were living downtown, and we got to use the skywalks whenever we wanted to get around to the areas downtown, so that was very cool. In Eugene the first time, the apartment was nice, but the floor plan was not great. However, we were right next to the river, so we could go down there and take a stroll anytime we wanted to. In Vancouver, there was always a parking issue, but we loved that apartment and we loved the area that we were in. In Lemon Grove, that was not great. It looked like I was going to be having about a 30-minute commute to work, which actually turned out to be closer to 45 minutes to an hour with traffic. And the apartment itself, while it was nice, was in a not so great part of town, so we wouldn't live there again. In Largo, I'm not even going to say anything bad about the apartment because we loved living there so much. We were there for a year and would have happily stayed there longer. In Eugene the second time, that's the first time where we ran into a big issue. We picked out the apartment and we picked out the layout, and when we got there, the layout was not even remotely close to what we had picked out online. A galley-style kitchen, a washer and dryer that was smack dab in the middle of the living room. We've never had to change apartments before, but at that place we did bring it up. We said, this is not the layout that you guys told us we were going to have online, and they said, oh yeah, well you can get that layout if you want to pay more money. So again, our mantra, we said it's just going to be 6 months, and we ended up living there, and it ended up being okay. Albuquerque, the apartment was not super nice. It was a little bit older, but the area that we were in was nice, and the apartment complex itself was nice. So now here we arrive in Maryland. We initially chose to live in Towson. This is all basically in the Baltimore area. Essentially, my hospital is kind of east, a little bit northeast of the city. So when looking for an apartment, we were looking in basically like a 20-minute radius from my hospital. Now, when we were living in Largo, outside of DC and Maryland, there are all of these little suburbs outside the city where there's a big shopping center and you can walk to get everywhere. And we always commented how it would be cool to live in one of these places. So when we looked at Towson, it looked like one of those communities. Towson Shopping Center is this big mall, and around there are shops and restaurants that you can walk to. And there were apartment complexes across the street from the shopping center, so obviously that's where we wanted to live. We booked the lease. I made a video about us driving across the country. We arrived at the apartment, and so we get to the apartments in Towson. Maintenance shows us up to our apartment. They let us in, and there are a number of issues. First of all, right off the bat, is the smell. We take one step into the apartment and Trish says, this smells like smoke. I say, I don't think that's smoke. I think it's just might be fresh paint or something like that. It was absolutely smoke. She was right. I was wrong on that. Number two, there are bugs everywhere in this apartment. Alive bugs, dead bugs, all covering the kitchen, all covering the bathroom. So that's disgusting. Number three, there's mold in the dishwasher. We didn't confirm that it's mold, but there was a black substance in the bottom of the dishwasher, which looked like mold to me. Number three, bearing in mind that this is an older building, all of the cabinets in this place are dilapidated, cracked, stained, and basically just all falling apart. Number five, and we didn't know this until the next morning, we don't have hot water in this apartment. We turned on the shower, and first of all I said, well, that's bizarre water pressure. The water's not spraying out of the shower nozzle, it's basically just dripping down, and we wait for it to warm up, and it never warms up, so we have no hot water in this apartment as well. So all of these issues combined, Trish is saying that she absolutely wants to leave this place because of how disgusting it is. So day after move-in, we go down to the leasing office and basically air our grievances and list everything that's wrong with the apartment. There's nothing that could be done about the smell of the cabinets. For the bugs, they only spray once a week for this huge building, and they say that we're going to have to wait a week until they come and spray for bugs in the apartment, so we're just gonna have to keep killing bugs in the meantime. For the mold and the water issues, they're gonna send maintenance up. Maintenance looks at the black residue and says that he doesn't think that it's mold, he thinks it's more of a soap scum. I googled both soap scum and mold in dishwashers, and what we have at the bottom of that dishwasher was absolutely mold, if the pictures online are to be believed. In terms of the water, he changes the shower nozzle, which gives us some water pressure, and he turns our hot water on because apparently our hot water was turned off. So some of the issues have been fixed, but we're still living in what we consider to be a fairly disgusting place. And that was just the apartment. Let me tell you about the actual complex itself. So first of all, we don't have access to the complex itself because the little things that we use to beep into the doors, ours are not working. So in the meantime, we have no access to the garage, and we have no access to the outside doors to let ourselves into the building. The other thing about the building is there is trash everywhere in this complex. Sunday through Thursday between 6 and 8 p.m. you put your trash outside of the door, and then after 8 they come and pick up the trash. People in this building pile their trash outside of their door no matter what time of day and no matter what day it is. So when I take our trash out, I go to the trash room, and there are mice scurrying all around the trash room, which is just absolutely lovely. There were other issues too, but those were the big ones. So we put up with this place for a couple of days, but after the weekend, we basically went down to the leasing office and said, look, this place is disgusting and we need to move out. And by the end of the day, we had selected a new apartment to live in. So now we are in a completely different part of town. So we're not around the Towson Shopping Center, unfortunately, but I'm much closer to work. We are in a much nicer apartment complex. There are no bugs in our apartment and there's no smell in the apartment. Yeah, we've basically had to rewash everything in our apartment because it either came in contact with bugs while we were there or it smells of smoke. It is what it is, but at least we're in a better place right now. Steven, as always, I hope that you make a video soon, and I will talk to you later. Bye.